Now you can hear Military Matters Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard and Sundays at noon on Wreaths Across America Radio, available on the iHeart Radio, TuneIn and Audacy apps. This episode is brought to you by Homes for Our Troops, a nonprofit helping build and donate homes to injured post 9/11 veterans. Visit hfotusa.org for more information. And welcome to the last Fast Take and the final episode of Military Matters. Maybe for once we'll make the final Fast Take, fast, but probably not. This show premiered January 7th, 2020, with an episode on cannabis. And to be honest with you, it wasn't a very well-produced episode. It was a little rough. The guests were great. The topic was awesome. And if you listen to it, you'll learn a lot about cannabis that you probably didn't know. But in terms of production, it was rough. It was our first episode, And since then, we've produced over 150 episodes. Seems a bit crazy looking back on everything. Looking back on 150 episodes, we've talked about housing, uniforms, weed, cryptocurrency, North Koreans, Russians, the Chinese, and even the idea of being visited by aliens. And I have to say that this show has been a pure joy to produce. And I've loved sharing these stories with all of you. The good, the bad, and the sometimes unbelievable. From the get-go, our mission has always been that of the brand we've built the show around, Stars and Stripes. And I will tell you, the day I walked onto the Stars and Stripes floor in this giant monolithic government building in Washington, D.C., it felt like I'd achieved something in my career and in my life that I never really thought I'd ever get to do. No, it's not the Wall Street Journal or the Washington Post or the New York Times. I think it's better than that. It's Stars and Stripes. It's a publication every soldier, Marine, sailor, airman, and now Guardians who've ever deployed, they recognize that brand. They know that logo. I remember being in the middle of a godforsaken desert in Iraq that felt as far away from home as you can get. It felt like I was on the surface of Mars. And yet there I was, completing a crossword puzzle, reading a little comic strip, catching up on the world from a physical paper copy of Stars and Stripes. So to have the opportunity to be part of its podcast, well, come on, man, that meant everything to me. And I have poured my heart and soul into this show. And looking back, this is probably one of the coolest things I've ever gotten a chance to do. I've learned a lot from the people behind the scenes. And I want to give a special shout out, an important piece of recognition to Bob Reed, Editor-in-Chief of Stars and Stripes. Bob is a veteran himself of the United States Army, and he is what you might call an old newspaper guy. And I say that with all the respect in the world. He's been in the newspaper business for over 50 years. I mean, when you think of old newspaper guy, you think editor, newspaper editor. I can only describe Bob as a real-life J. Jonah Jameson. The first time I met Bob Reed, I thought he was going to demand pictures of Spider-Man on his desk by 5 o'clock. That's exactly the kind of person you should think of when you think of Bob Reed. And when I came on board, Bob was clear about what he wanted for this show and what he didn't want. He laid it out pretty simple. Stories that matter, but never forget what we're about. We're about the service member, the veteran, and the families that support them. That's it. He gave me my marching orders, and he has trusted me with this show. In 152 episodes, Bob Reed never said, "You can't say that." Instead, he did what great leaders do. He talked to me. He gave me his perspectives. And then let me make the decision. And for that, I'll always be grateful to him, for giving me that autonomy and for giving the show its unique voice. When the show's funding had been cut, he didn't mince words. He didn't try to soften the blow. He just came out and said, Rod, the show's funding has been cut. Thank you for all you've done. The decision to end the show has nothing to do with the quality. It's just about money. Thank you, and good luck with your next venture. That was it. The worst Bob Reed impression. But that was it. I said, well, shoot, man, thank you for everything. And honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better way to end it. Clear, to the point. We've had different editors, co-hosts, lots of guests, and to all of them, I say thank you. Brian, our final editor, gets to put the show to bed, and I'm sure he's glad to not have to edit this last episode too much. No cuss words this time, Brian. Well, maybe. We'll see. As we wrap this one up, I want to thank you, the listener. In a sea of podcasts, you chose us. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. I hope we informed you, entertained you, and maybe someday we'll link up again. But till then, all I ask of you is this. Keep all of them accountable. Them being those in authority, those in power, those wearing uniforms, those wearing stars, those wearing business suits, those sitting behind big desks, those sitting behind secret desks, those who we've trusted with our well-being. Keep them all accountable. Journalism, whether it's in print, video, or voice, keeps the spotlight on. And without it, we're lost. Without that spotlight, well, people are going to do things that they think they can get away with. So ask the hard questions. Don't let folks give you empty political answers, that nonsense where they answer you without ever really answering you. Demand more. Expect more. Hold those people to a higher standard. Demand more from those people and support the journalists who are at the front trying to get the story. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for 150 plus episodes. Thank you for trusting me with your time and attention. I hope you enjoyed that last episode about quantum physics and the DoD. I hope you enjoyed all of our stories. Folks, that does it for me. Rod out. This episode was brought to you by Homes for Our Troops, a nonprofit helping build and donate homes to injured post-9/11 veterans. Visit hfotusa.org for more information. Now you can hear Military Matters Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard and Sundays at noon on Wreaths Across America Radio, available on the iHeart Radio, TuneIn and Audacy apps.